Hello, I'm Dr. Homer Ferguson, the organist choirmaster of Emmanuel Episcopal Church in Southern Pines, North Carolina. Today, we're going to take a brief tour inside of our new pipe organ, built by C.B. Fisk of Gloucester, Massachusetts. This organ, their Opus 145, is a two-manual and pedal instrument. Today, we'll look at the console, we'll see where the organ is played, and then we'll take a peek inside, behind this facade, behind the 25 pipes that we can see, to see the 1,300 or so others. We'll take a look at the mechanism, we'll meet some organ builders, and you'll get a glimpse as to what it is that makes this glorious instrument work. Come on, let's go. Here we are at the console of the organ. As you can see, we have two manuals or two keyboards, and we also have a pedal board, which is a little out of sight right now. Up here we have the various controls for the organ. These control the swell division, or the top keyboard. These stops over here control the great division of the organ, or the bottom keyboard. And these controls over here, these stops, control the pedal division, the lowest pipes of the organ. As you can see, we have various kinds of pipes. We have principal pipes, we have flute pipes, we have string pipes, and we have reed pipes. Right now, they're currently in the voicing process of the organ. Approximately 600 pipes are playing at this point in time. When the organ is finished in late March, there will be 1,300 pipes playing. When more funding becomes available, we'll complete the entire instrument, which will give us a little over 2,000 pipes total for the instrument. Right now, I'm standing in the choir loft of Emmanuel Episcopal Church, looking out into the nave. As I turn, you'll see where the organ console lives. This is what controls the instrument. This is a mechanical action organ, so each key is connected to a tracker, which runs down underneath the choir loft and into the organ. Let's take a look inside. As you see, this panel allows us access into the instrument. As we come into the organ, immediately to the right, you'll see a wedge bellows. This is where the wind goes to from a blower or a fan, which is located beneath us, and into this bellows. This bellows is what feeds the organ its wind or its air. Immediately in front of us, you'll see one of the two areas where pedal pipes live in this organ. This chest over here is the C sharp side of the organ, C sharp, D sharp, F, G, etc. And then the C side of the pedal division lives over here. And you can see some of the largest pipes of the organ against the back wall here in wood made of poplar. Here we have some of the stops, some of the pipes of the trombone. Currently, most of the pedal is not operational at this point, as the voicing process hasn't come along that far. But you'll see right here the mechanism. Here's the chest that you can see into, and all the various pallets that open and allow wind into the pipes. If the organ stop was pulled, this valve, this pallet, could be pulled open and air would go into the pipe. Now, if we turn from our current position and go approximately 180 degrees, we'll see where the action of the organ comes into the instrument itself, having started at the console, run underneath the floor, and then here to the coupler stack, where various sets of trackers go to various places of the organ. Along the floor run the pedal trackers. Here we see the roller board for the great division, or the division that is played with that lower manual, that lower keyboard. And here you can see part of the great wind chest and its mechanism. Again, you can look right in and see the various pallets. And so depending on what stops are pulled, when the key is depressed, the tracker moves, the pallet opens, wind goes into the pipe. The other set of trackers that you see here that go up into the organ belong to the swell division, or that top manual. Let's go up into the organ now. So now we're going to take this ladder and we're going to go up into the great division first. We're going to take a peek and open the door. The great division consists of two areas of pipes. The first, which we are seeing here, is an enclosed division. That is an area of the grate that is in a swell box or a swell enclosure. This is particularly important if you want to affect the dynamic of the pipe. That is, whether the sound that's coming out of the organ is louder or softer. Pipes themselves cannot get louder or softer on their own, so we put them in these enclosures, essentially like large blinds that you might have on your window, to either permit sound to come out into the room or to block it from coming into the room. Here we have several stops. We have the 8-foot harmonic flute and the 8-foot spire flute, and they're starting to put in part of the 8-foot cornopian. You'll also notice that there's some areas where there are no pipes. Here is where the 8-foot clarinet will live someday when that stop gets funded. The organ is prepared for 11 additions to the complete disposition of the organ. All of the mechanics are here. It's just the pipes that we miss at this point in time. We have two more of those, the 4-foot flute and the 8-foot string will also live in here someday. Now, as we move into the unenclosed portion of the great division, we see some voicing tools that belong to voicer Nami Hamada. And as we glance to the right, we can see the great division, particularly the principal chorus. Here we have before us the mixture, then the 2-foot, then the 4-foot, then part of the 16-foot Borden and the 8-foot principal. As we look this way, we see the C-sharp side. The pipes alternate in how they are played. C on one side, C-sharp on the other, then back to D, etc. Here you can have a better idea about the swell enclosure for the great, as I can move these shutters, and that demonstrates to you how sound is allowed to come into the room or be blocked. Let's move now into the swell division. As we exit the great division, we will return to our ladder and work our way up the organ. Here we're going to encounter some organ builders. So you'll get to see them in action. And here we have Nami Hamada, right now from the C.B. Fisk firm, one of the great voicers of our nation. What are you working on right now, Nami?
I'm working on the Nazard on the Swell division, the second manual. And the pipes are too long, so we're cutting to the length right now.
Oh, so that they'll speak at the right pitch, is that correct?
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
And can you tell us what things you might do to a pipe for the voicing process outside of cutting the length?
Well, if you look at the pipe, the wind comes from the bottom. You see the hole. The wind comes from here, and then it comes out from this. We call it windway. It's a tiny area that wind becomes as a sheet, and then hits this area. We call it upper lip, and we change when we voice a pipe. We change the location of this. We call it upper lip. This is lower lip. Location of the upper lip, in or out, or there's a horizontal piece of metal inside. We call it languid, and we push it up or push it low, and change the direction of the sheet of wind. That changes the color of the tone and speech and volume at times.
Sure.
So we change by adjusting it. We make the pipes speak right or sound right.
Sure.
To the room.
Right. Yeah. And do you find that you'll have particular pipes that speak too loudly for the room just because of the acoustics of the environment? Is that part of what you're listening for?
Yes.
Okay. And then some people maybe know about nicking. Is there nicking that happens, and what is that?
Oh, nicking helps the sheet of wind stabilize, and which means that, without the nicking, sometimes the wind has a noise in the tone, and by giving the nicking, which is a little scratch in front of this horizontal piece, the languid, it helps the wind goes more even and gets rid of the noise. So it creates this rich and smooth tone, and this usually speech gets better too.
Well, that's fantastic. You've got a wonderful little workshop here.
Yes.
What are some of these tools that we see that you use, if you don't mind showing us?
This is the scissors to cut the pipe I use. And this is tuning slides that I put on the pipe after I cut it.
Sure.
So when you tune, it goes up and down to tune the pipe, change the pitch, and this is, we call it Toho gauge. This is in metric, so it's from 4 millimeters to 25 millimeters, and we measure each pipe at the size of the toe hole, and change the toe hole size accordingly.
Sure.
And then we make a record of that. Write down if it's used to be 15, but now 14.
Sure.
And so that's that. And here are some different. I don't know if I should hold it or leave it. Different sizes of spatula that I use to move the upper lip out.
Okay.
I pull it out, or push the metal in. And I use the small ones for the smaller pipes. And here's a nicking knife. It's a very small knife that I make nicks. It's dark. I put the nick in front of the languid. And let's see, this is another type of spatula that I put inside the windway, and then open or close or burnish the languid.
Sure.
That changes the color as well. And several different hammers to hit the metal. And this is, we call it cow's foot. I don't know if the cow's foot looks like this, but we call it anyway. This is basically, you lower the languid. You place the foot part of the cow's foot, and then place it, and then with the hammer you lower the languid. So this is a smaller one. We have bigger size, medium size, and Yeah, this is, we call it toe cone.
Mm-hmm.
This is, the inside of this has different depth.
Okay.
And we hit the foot, the toe,
Mm-hmm.
like this, and then close the toe if we need to. But if we need to open it, I use the countersink
Uh-huh.
and then open.
Sure. And well, the toe, that primarily controls the volume of the pipe, or
Primarily,
what other what else would you be after in closing the toe down? As far as what else would you be trying to accomplish by changing the toe? Yeah. Mhm.
Sometimes the tone gets a little bit more relaxed if I close it,
Ah, okay. Uh-huh.
and that usually makes the sound softer.
Sure. Uh-huh.
Yeah, basically volume, but
Sure.
the tone colors usually are adjusted.
Mm-hmm. And then one last question. You know, this pipe has ears on it. Maybe you can point to them. What is the purpose of those?
The ears control helps the pipe speak.
Mm-hmm.
And you will get more focused sound.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it kind of guides the sheet of wind so
Sure.
it doesn't go out and to different directions outside the mouth.
So you'll adjust those
Mm-hmm.
as you need to.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes by closing the ears,
Mhm.
the tone gets a little bit more round.
Mm-hmm.
Opening would
Mhm.
make it a little bit stringier.
Sure. Sure.
And speech gets better or worse, and we adjust
Sure.
the ears.
Oh, well, that's fascinating.
So yeah.
Well, thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Now, as we move away from Nami's workstation, we're going to look here into what is the Swell division. And here we're going to be with organ builder Linda Cook. And she's going to give us some details about the instrument here and what we're seeing. And Linda, welcome.
Hi.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Linda is a longtime member of the Fisk shop, and I've asked her to talk to us about these wooden pipes here that we see as you built these.
That's right.
So can you tell us about them?
Sure. These pipes are made out of poplar.
Mhm.
They're whistles just as the pipes that you were looking at earlier are, but they give a different tone being made out of wood.
Mhm.
And we can see a bit about their construction. They have walls, sides, and the front and the back. And the block, this is called the block, this intersection, it has a hardwood face. This is oak. And then it will have a cap. And between the back of the cap and we cut away some of the front of the languid, really. So you get the windway. And again, the wind sheet comes into the bottom of the pipe. The air comes into the bottom of the pipe. The air goes through. The wind sheet comes out through the windway. And then, again, ears, upper lip, and that can all be adjusted just as in a metal pipe.
Sure.
You might
So
want to...
when you make those kinds of adjustments, you're using different kinds of tools because you're shaving.
Files,
Okay.
yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Files a lot, possibly sandpaper, depending on what you're doing.
Oh, okay. Sure. Sure.
It would
sure.
work.
Sure.
These pipes are connected by this tubing to the chest where most of the other pipes are.
Oh, sure.
This is another wind chest.
Mm-hmm.
And these pipes don't have a malleable toe. So on the inside, we put a lead disc, and we can drill out that hole and change the size of the amount of air. Because if it were this full volume of air, that would be way too much.
Sure. Sure. Sure.
And because they're not metal, they're not going to lean over and bend.
Right.
They can be mounted wherever there's room for them, and they often end up on walls and ceilings.
Yeah.
And these are fastened directly to, there's probably a hook mounted on the outside at the top, but they are screwed from through the back into the wall.
Wow. These pipes aren't going anywhere.
They're not going anywhere, no.
Now, is the poplar, which is part of the body of the pipe, is there a finish on it, or is that natural, or how's that left?
There's a lacquer finish, a clear
Okay.
lacquer finish on them. It helps keep them. If you get dirt on them, you can actually wipe it off, which
Sure.
doesn't get into the grain so much.
Sure.
But no color. This is the natural color. It's actually already darkened a little bit though with exposure to light and air.
And then I'm going to swing through here, because I know people ask me about how do these pipes get tuned. And so maybe you could tell us about that while I get a view.
So these are a stopped pipe. So the physics of waves means that this pipe is effectively speaks at an octave lower than its outside length would indicate. So there's a stopper which has felt and leather around it to provide air tightness and snugness. And this stopper you push in or pull out to change the length of the pipe. Changing the length of the pipe changes the pitch.
Sure. Oh, that's fantastic. And this is a cowhide, or what is this leather?
Ooh, this is probably this is actually probably sheepskin. But it's not that critical which animal our stopper leather comes from, so we do use cow
Sure.
also.
And then what else do we, I'll try not to distract you too much. So now what are we seeing in this is the swell division of the organ. So we're pretty high up in the building. This is perhaps the most incomplete division where most of the prepared for stops are, and you can see many of the holes for that in the toe boards and et cetera. So Naomi, can you show us? This is the 2 2/3, the
Yes.
Nazar that you're working on here. Yes.
Which is right here
Okay.
in the center row.
Yes.
We call it this sheet of plywood that the pipes are sitting. We call it rack board. And the center row is the Nazar. And this row is the 2-foot recorder.
Yes.
And then this row is the tiers
Right.
rack.
Great. And then to the what is my left? This is part of the string. One of the strings here. I think this is the Celeste. And the construction of this particular string is in the nature of Cavaille coal. Is that correct?
Yes. 19th century French. Stuff.
They have little beards, brass beards.
That's fantastic. And can you describe to us what that little brass beard does as far as its function, or?
Yes, it helps just like similar to the way the ears work, but it leads the sheet of wind to a certain direction, but having the opening in front of, when I turn it like this, there's a little opening here. Yes. It creates this certain harmonics to the tone that creates a stringy quality in the sound. And we call it fran, which is I don't know it in English. It's something that horses have in their mouth.
Oh, a bit.
In French, a bit.
That would be a bit, I think.
In English, that's.
Oh, the horse country people here should.
I know. I'm going to call it the bridle, but I know. I'm pretty sure that's wrong. Shame on me. Oh well. Yeah.
So that's what this is. And then string pipes has slot at the top that also creates harmonics into the tone. So this harmonics is really essential for the string pipes.
Sure.
So there's the slot, and as well as this bridge, we call it harmonic bridges too.
Yeah.
Harmonic bridge that really creates the stringy sound.
Sure. And so its complement, I believe that's the Celeste, is over here, maybe behind you, I guess. There it is. And so there's the gamba itself, the one that's unison. The rank of pipes we were just looking at is tuned slightly, I guess it would be sharp, wouldn't it? Yes, okay. And then what else do we see here? Looks like a chimney flute.
Yes, we have chimney flute. As it sounds, there's a chimney on top. But if you look from the top,
yes,
the chimney is open, but this is closed. So it's partially closed. And this is also because to create the certain harmonics in the tone. And sometimes, just like the wood pipes, the pipe is closed, but wood pipes is completely closed. But this is partially open, so the tone gets a little bit more brightness and character to character.
Oh, that's fantastic. And then maybe one other thing you could show us is the there's a 4-foot harmonic flute up here as well.
Yes.
Perhaps you could show us what a harmonic pipe looks like, if you could pull one of those.
So here's a harmonic flute. This harmonic flutes have long, twice as long body. So this, for example, this is E, the middle E. But on the piano, for instance, or on this organ, it's 8 foot. It would speak. That is the 8 foot, and the pipe is really the length of the 8 foot. But creating these 2 holes, a set of holes, it speaks 1 octave higher. So you have this whole length, but speaking the upper octave, it has this really strong, solid flute sound. So the usually harmonic flutes are used as a solo flute because of that solid quality, the strength of the sound.
Sure.
So this is also derived from 19th century French style.
Yes. Also from Cavaillé?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we also use the same ratio of the location of the as the way Cavaillé used the location of the hole.
Of that particular hole. Sure. Oh yeah, it's a very wonderful sound. You know, those harmonic flutes blend so beautifully as well. Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh, well, fantastic. Well, thank you very much, Nami.
You're welcome.
In here you'll also see where other things will live someday. The 8 foot, is this the Vox Humana? That would be, what's 8R? Vox Humana, yes, will be here someday. The 16-foot bombard, those are prepared for. 4-foot principal is prepared for. What is this?
Violin diapason.
Oh, violin diapason, yes. Someday. And then we have the mixture. And then the 8-foot trumpet will be here. And then here will live the 8-foot oboe, hautbois, and that is here. It's just not installed yet. That will actually be the last stop on the organ to be voiced.
And the flute celeste.
Oh, and the flute celeste. How could I forget? That's exactly right. Yeah, well, that too will come. So if we go out this little door, we'll be able to get 1 or 2 more views before we conclude our tour. Here we are looking down at one of the pedal wind chests, just so you can get an idea about height and the drama of it all. And then as we turn this way, here are some of the gamba celeste pipes lined up and out of the way. As we turn this way, we can find our way to where the Schimmelstern lives, these little tiny bells. And then as we go further, we're now looking down into the great unenclosed division. And now looking out into the church, we're high above the choir. And we'll look through this little quatrefoil and we can see the nave. Thank you for taking this tour of C.B. Fisk, Opus 145. We appreciate your time and we welcome you here at Emmanuel Episcopal Church, whether it's in worship or for a musical program. And now as we conclude this tour, I will play for you one verse of the hymn, Praise to the Lord the Almighty. I will play this on the great principal chorus, 8/4/2 and mixture, with the pedal 16-foot principal. Those are the pipes you see in the facade, in the pedal, with a great couple today. Thank you again.